On this journey of trying to find the worst cartoon in history, one cartoon that has been heavily requested is Secret Mountain Fort Awesome. Now, I never watched this show as a kid because it does look really awful, but maybe I'm just a bad person, judging things by their cover, how dare I? Perhaps it's a hidden gem, something to be cherished by all generations, or it actually is just slop. That's what we're going to be trying to figure out today by taking a look at the 2 best episodes in the series, the 2 worst episodes in the series, and 2 random episodes to determine, was Secret Mountain Fort Awesome actually awful? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe because I upload daily cartoon and movie content, as well as at 50k, I'm going to be cosplaying as Pops from Regular Show and singing Footloose at a karaoke bar, as well as doing the Milk Challenge. And if you want a place where you can hang out, my Discord will be in the description. It is a great place to share all of your art, your thoughts on cartoons, your thoughts on movies, your thought on the entertainment world. It is a great place to hang out. Now let's talk about Secret Mountain Fort Awesome. Starting us off with a 4.4 on IMDb, what is said to be one of the worst episodes in all of Secret Mountain Fort Awesome is the episode Secret Mountain Fart Awesome. And with the title like that going into it, I was very terrified that it was going to be slop, just fart joke here, fart joke there, just to try to make that silly little brain-rotted toddler laugh. But, this actually really wasn't that bad. Was it funny? No. But was it entertaining? Honestly, yeah, I didn't have a bad time going into this episode. So it's basically all about this character named Fart, who has a awful design where he is literally just made of ass cheeks. Like he has an ass cheek hand, and then his entire head is an ass cheek. And then there's this other character, I think his name is Festo. And those are the only 2 characters' names I learned in this episode, and they're really the only characters that matter. The other ones are just disgusting. I'm wondering if this show got such a bad rap solely because of how the main characters look, because they all look horrible. Horrible. There is not one character that looks inviting or friendly or like something you'd want to watch on a Saturday morning before school. They all look like something that you would wipe off the bottom of your shoe because they just look that awful. Like one of them is literally just a little green covered pus thing. Like why would I want to watch that? Like, get off my shoe. That's how he makes me feel. I don't like him very much. But either way, the fart thing is going to take a shower, and he asks them, "Oh, please, gentlemen, please do not read my diary, please, while I shower." And so they all run to read his diary, and they find out that he's been cloning himself. Oh no! And so they accidentally make thousands of the fart. And the fart doesn't talk the way you think you would, If I was a walking fart, I'd probably have a voice like, but he talks more like, oh Lord, like something like that. I don't know. It just kind of always catches me off guard every time it speaks. It's just a little bit weird. So there's thousands of farts now, and the main fart is getting out of the shower. And we get one of the most disgusting scenes in this episode. I don't know how people feel proud when they animate something like this, but the fart gets out of the shower, he's walking over, and they're like, oh no, he's gonna find out that we read his diary, what are we gonna do? And so this little thing with a giant nose, who also looks really decrepit, runs over and he's like, hey Fart, you gotta take another shower, dude, you gotta take another shower. And Fart is like, why? And then we get this scene where he jumps up and you just see his nose grow bigger and he just shoots a mountain of snot everywhere, all over him.
You don't look clean to me!
It's a good thing I love showers.
It's disgusting, it's vile, and it makes my skin crawl. I don't know why people enjoy that. You could have done anything else, a scene where he dumps trash on him, does anything else. Other than that was really abysmal. Maybe that's why people didn't like this episode, but I could get past it. I could get past it. So, there's thousands of clones, and they all want to start a fart revolution, so they run to the kitchen, they imprison some of the guys, except Festo, the purple guy, and not like the FNAF purple guy for all you FNAFers. This isn't the bite of, I don't care, I don't know FNAF enough, but saying purple guy made me chuckle. Either way, so the purple dude, he realizes that he has to stop this fart revolution, and so he clones thousands of him. So now there's 1,000 Festos and 1,000 fart guys. Oh lord, the shenanigans! And they have a big ultimate battle, and they fight each other, and Festo wins. The battle was entertaining. I won't lie. Like, it was good. There wasn't anything bad about it, and compared to Problem Solvers, the main characters here look way worse, but at least the world isn't flashing with an epileptic seizure just trying to get me to flop over onto the ground and start dying. At least I could look at this show, that's a little bit better. But yeah, this plot was entertaining. I don't know why it's so hated. Maybe it's because it focuses on the fart character and every time he speaks, a little toot comes out. But nonetheless, it was still definitely decent. I don't think it deserves as much hate as it gets, especially for this episode being one of the lowest rated. It was fine. Okay, it was fine. If I was to rate this episode 1 out of 10, I would give it a solid 6 out of 10. There is nothing bad about this episode, except maybe that snot rocket. That was genuinely disgusting. That was the only part that I would really hinder to it. There's nothing bad. A 6 out of 10 isn't a bad score, but there's nothing overly good. For a show that is supposed to be like this, I feel like it's supposed to be a little bit funny. This show is not very funny at all. It didn't feel like they actually told any jokes in this episode. It felt like they were just going through the motions, and I feel like a show that looks like this should be trying to be funny at least a little bit, and not just relying on the characters to be funny, which the characters are not very funny. Like, at all. I do not like watching the fart be like, oh, if we all fart at the same time, we will take over the mountain and create Secret Mountain Fart Awesome. Like, it's just not that funny, man. At least to me. I don't think it's very funny. So the characters, they don't work very well, but maybe once I get to the best episodes, I'll see how magical they could be. But yeah, just a solid 6 out of 10. Not awful, just decent. It's definitely just okay. Taking a look at one of the best episodes in the series with a 7.7 on IMDb, Labyrinth. And it rightfully being called Labyrinth because it's just a reference to that old movie Labyrinth with David Bowie. So that's exciting, you know, you can't really go wrong when you're referencing that goldmine of a movie. And this episode's definitely okay. It follows that character that looks like just green pus, which I don't really like. His name's Gwilok. Found that out, how exciting. And this episode starts off with him playing a game. It kind of looks like, I don't know, RuneScape or World of Warcraft. He's just enjoying himself, and then everybody comes back from the mall, and they're like, oh, Gwilok, you can't dance, you can't bust a move, bro, you're not good at busting a move. And so he wishes that they go away forever, and that is when the king from the game, who is David Bowie, comes out of nowhere, takes all his friends away, and then he's immediately sad because, oh no! My friends are gone! Oh, what have I done? What have I done? And so, David Bowie shows him the labyrinth, which he now has to go through if he wants to get his friends back. And we get a David Bowie song. Not an actual David Bowie song. He's more singing about ass and how Gwilok can't dance, but that was okay, I guess.
Jump, happy jump. Butt, happy butt. Gwilok, please come rescue us.
And then we get a bunch of different shenanigans throughout this entire episode where he's using his friend's powers to try to get through the labyrinth to learn an important lesson about the importance of friendship. You know, you just gotta be a friend all the time. That's just what you gotta do. And so initially he gets to like this lava passage and he finds like a bunch of 40-year-olds comments. I think it's trying to make fun of the fact that a lot of people didn't like the show, and there's this guy playing with a puppet and he just throws the guy playing with the puppet into the lava.
It's the millennium! Puppets aren't cool anymore! Try CGI!
I don't know what poor guy did to deserve that, but okay. And then he just keeps doing a bunch of different things. There's so many things that happen in this episode. It's crazy. He meets this clown guy, and he's able to solve the riddle. Great. He falls into this chasm where there's a bunch of feet that are just lightly touching him. They're not even kicking him. It's just a bunch of feet. Like maybe somebody in the studio was like, I love feet. Oh, guys, can we please make a chasm of feet? Well, why? Why, Jared? Why do you want to make a chasm of feet? Do you want it to attack Wheelock and, like, hurt him? No. I just want the feet to lightly touch him. Sensually. Because that's what it feels like. And then he manages to escape by using the character Snot's thing. I think his name is Snot, where he genuinely just shoots up a rocket of snot. Apparently, that wasn't just a gross thing that he did in the last episode. That's just his character. His character is that he shoots up dirty, stinky snot upwards. I think it's gross. He manages to escape. Yeah, very weird. Very, very weird. And so he finds this chocolate. And he's like, ooh, chocolate, nom nom. And then he's like, this kid tastes kinda. And then he passes out because the chocolate said poison on it. And then he wakes up and oh my god. He's like in this dream world with David Bowie, singing this song while David's also singing about how they're dancing forever, dancing together. He grows legs, and they're kind of like staring at each other like sexually. I felt so much sexual tension between this green pus thing and David Bowie as they're dancing together.
Let's dance forever.
But then he remembers his friends, so he's like, I don't want these legs, David! I just want my friends! Oh! And so he escapes that world, and he murders that clown guy by pushing him down escalators, and he eventually gets all the way to David Bowie in this, like, Galaxy Stardust world! Oh my god, kind of like Ziggy Stardust! Oh my god, the David Bowie references are insane! And so, the only thing that he has to do is dance to get his friends back, but he's not a dancer. He doesn't know how, and he just starts going like this. And that works, that does the trick, and he's able to save his friends and defeat David Bowie. Yeah, this was okay. This was okay. A couple moments almost got me to laugh, specifically when Wheelock would randomly kill a poor civilian. I thought that was kind of funny, physical comedy-wise, but, majority of it's just okay. I wouldn't say any of it's boring. If I was to rate this episode 1 out of 10, I would probably give it a 7. It did a couple of things that were really interesting, that were really entertaining, but the reason that it doesn't get all the way up to like an 8, a 9, or 10 is it was kind of bogged down by having Wheelock be the main character for this episode, a character that I don't really find interesting or that funny, or honestly, just I find him extremely hard to look at the majority of the time, and him doing all these challenges while being like his friend also isn't the most entertaining thing ever, because, I don't know, all of his friends are absolutely disgusting, specifically the fart and the snot guy. Watching this green pus-filled bag spit snot out of his nose and just climb up a thing, I didn't like that. And then also to get across a chasm, he has to start ripping ass like the fart guy, and that just wasn't my favorite thing in the world. But overall, if I'm just ignoring those two moments, this episode was really decent. It had a lot of good progression. I liked seeing this wonky world. The David Bowie villain, although kind of odd, was still a lot of fun and a lot of cool callbacks to Labyrinth. I think there was an entire scene where he's like, ground control to Major Ass, something like that. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the callbacks. I love Labyrinth. That was a great movie. But is this series actually good, or was this just good because it was an entire episode filled with Labyrinth references? That's the question that we're going to be having, but still, 7 out of 10. Nothing inherently awful about this episode, mostly filled with some good things. Heading back over to one of the worst episodes in the series with a 4.2 rating on IMDb, we have What It Do, Nephew. And this episode is interesting, to say the least. It opens with them just beating each other with meat, and then Festo's all like, oh lord, my cousins are coming over, oh yay, and you know who else isn't even remotely a wimp? My cousins. Oh, they're gonna come here and show you guys what being tough is all about. So yeah, the cousins are coming, and they show up, and they're very weird, man. I don't like them. They're just super wimpy, and I don't like it's not that I dislike that they're wimpy, just in their introduction, they're saying their names, and then one of them, Festo Jr., he's like, I'm Festo Jr., and like moans.
I'm Festo Jr. These are your tough nephews?
Why are you moaning? Why are you moaning while saying your name, bud? A little bit weird. And so, seeing how wimpy all of them are, they decide to teach them to be tough. And, Some of these scenes are okay. Like, we get one where Festo decides to give them all tattoos and takes them into the tattoo shop, and they all just grow in mass, like get huge.
There, now you look tough, just like me.
That was pretty funny, I guess. I don't know, is funny the right word, or just, I don't know, my face is still pretty deadpan during it. It's just like, but my brain is like, yes, that was all right. That was okay. That was kind of good. I don't know. So they do that, and then they just keep on getting trained by everybody. If you want to know how just inviting and lovely and how well thought out this show is, there is a scene where the fart character teaches them that their farts must be silent but deadly. And so they just rip stinky, stinky, stinky silent ass. My God, the writing is just impeccable. Dear Lord, why is this not praised as one of the greatest shows of all time? Silent but deadly. Oh man, that would just get little me cracking up. I would just be on the floor laughing at something just so funny. No. I genuinely don't know why so many shows lean into fart humor, because even if I was to talk to all of my friends when I was a kid, we would all agree, even at the ages of like 6 or 7, that shows like that suck. Like, who likes this stuff? Genuinely, that's just my question. Because when I was a kid, I was into shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, deep storytelling, emotional, badass fights. I would not switch to Secret Mountain Fort Awesome to watch characters ripping ass over a well thought out and executed story. I feel like somebody high up just had to be like, you know what kids find really funny throughout all of their childhood? The second they're past the age of 4, they just love stinky ass ripping. It's what they love. They love it when things get stinky. I just don't get it. Because I feel like, yeah, there's a certain age where you do find that funny, but I feel like once you start watching actual good television, you no longer find that shit to be as funny. Maybe you could chuckle at it here and there, but compared to actually well-written stories, I feel like kids aren't as stupid as you want to think they are, and they actually would prefer well-thought-out, well-written shows. At least that's my thought behind it. Either way, it was just a little rant, there. The kids get too tough, so they kick everybody out of the house, and we get a battle of the meat, where they're meeting everywhere and fighting with meat. I don't know, I just really enjoyed watching all the Secret Mountain Fort Awesome guys get their ass beat. That was really entertaining, because I don't like any of these characters because they look so awful. I don't like looking at any of them, and their personalities aren't making it much better, so watching them get their asses beat, that was great. And so Festo's brother shows up, or dad or whatever, and he has really thick and meaty thighs. And he's all like, I can't deal with you all being too wimpy. And then he makes the Secret Mountain Fort Awesome guys leave instead of the tough little nephews, because they're the true wimps, and he takes them away. And that is the end of the episode. Yeah, I definitely didn't really like this one as much as the other episodes I've watched. I was kind of hoping that this entire series was just going to be so bad that it's actually good, which the 2 other episodes that I watched kind of felt like that. They were kind of on that side of being decent, you know, still a little bit awful, but decent. This one is just slop for the sake of slop, I guess. I don't know. I don't really like the progression of it. All the scenes where they were teaching the nephews to be a little bit more tough, I only really liked one of those scenes. The rest of them were just whatever. And then the big finale with the meat fight, that was okay, I guess. But the only reason I found it remotely entertaining was because I got to watch the main characters get their asses beat a little bit. So yeah, if I was to rate this episode 1 out of 10, I would give it a 5 out of 10, you know? And that's not saying that it's completely derived of all entertainment value. A 5 out of 10 isn't the worst thing ever. It's just middle of the road. There were a couple of things that I didn't like about this episode, which is why I'm ranking it so low, but I'm not going to give it like a 4 or a 3 or a 2 out of 10 because it's not unwatchable. There are certain shows that have unwatchable episodes. You could watch this and you'd have a decent time. You wouldn't hate your life, but there's nothing overly good about it to where I would want to put it anything better than just average. Heading back over to one of the best episodes with a 7.7 on IMDb is Gwilok Cracks, and I guess Gwilok, the little pus-covered green guy, is a very popular character because he has the 2 best episodes in the series. I don't know if that holds up with the actual fans, because obviously I do know that IMDb is a liar, but hey, it works well for a video format, so I'm gonna stick to it. Yeah, this episode was really, really, really weird. really weird. So it opens with Guilok brushing his teeth, but with toilet water. So yeah, off to a great start, man. Off to a great start. And he really wants to go to Crackthon with this guy named Harry Crack. Yep. That's his name, Harry Crack, and he really wants to go, but it's family night, and so he starts tweaking, and we get a zoom-up close-up of his face. We actually get 2 of those in this episode, a close-up, which, you know, in most shows when they do close-ups, it's to, like, show a gross-out moment where they, like, zoom into their face, and you're like, oh, whoa, that was surprising, that was funny, because it caught me off guard. The entire time I'm looking at these characters, I hate them, I hate the way they look, I don't like it at all, so when they do a close-up, it's not to be funny, it's for me to go like, you're just making me suffer now.
But I've got to go!
So yeah, I didn't really like that. And him screaming means that they can go to the Crackthon to see Harry Crack. And they get there. And Festo is sleeping, so he puts a piece of Band-Aid over his mouth to make him not snore. And Harry Crack is like, does anybody have a bandage? Oh, anybody with a bandage, please? And Guilok is like, right here. And it rips off the Band-Aid. And of course, we have to get a zoom up of his ripped skin.
Oh, that young lady has one on her mouth lips.
Lovely. And so they go up there, and Harry Crack falls in love with Festo. Instead of Guilok, Harry Crack just loves Festo so much. And I don't really like Harry Crack's design. He looks weird. They for some reason made him extra caked up. Like, I'm talking dumpy Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Like, totally dumped up. Like, man, what a dump truck he has. He's just voluptuous ass.
How interesting. Okay, so the crystal isn't your thing. Come with me.
Like, really. And he invites everybody back to the mansion, and he's just so invested in Festo and why he doesn't like his inventions. Festo just isn't a fan of any of his inventions. How could this be? But he just keeps on agreeing with Festo over and over and over again until Guilok gets very angry, and he, like, transforms into a pink version of himself and wears a super diaper because he wants to be more popular with Harry Crack. And this is where the episode just got so unbelievably weird for me, because then it just fucking ends. Like, Guilok gets angry, attacks Harry Crack. Harry Crack is revealed to be a robot that Guilok just kills. He just kills him right there.
Inventions now, Harold Crack! Oh, crud!
And mind you, Harry Crack isn't a villain or anything like that. He's dead on the floor. If you count robots as having feelings. That dang clanker, you know, that dang clanker there on the floor, that rusted tin can sitting there. And they're just like, wow, what a twist. What a twist. And then the episode ends. I don't know. That was a very abrupt ending. It kind of felt like it was like halfway through what it wanted to show, what it wanted to tell. And I was just left, was that a joke? Was that a joke? Like, was that a joke ending? That wasn't really that funny. Kind of just feels like I'm missing a big part of this. Like, why is he a robot? I have questions that I don't even want answered because I don't really want to watch the follow-up episode. So I was just left being like, well, I guess that's it. I guess it's over. So yeah, Guilok Cracks, if I was to rate this episode 1 out of 10, probably just a solid 6. Solid 6 out of 10. There was nothing really super bad about this episode besides those close-ups, because they weren't done in good taste. They were just done to make you genuinely, like, I don't know, want to jump into a pit of fire ants or something. It just wasn't very fun to look at those close-ups. The episode flowed in a very weird way where it never really felt like it got going. It never really felt like there was a major plot. Yeah, you know, on second thought, I'm moving this to 4 out of 10. I understand the joke at the end. It was supposed to be like, whoa, that was weird. But genuinely, the episode felt like they just wasted 11 minutes of my time. Like, I don't want to watch Guilok be a baby for so unbelievably long and just leads to absolutely nowhere. Like, the big conclusion where he's fighting Harry ends in 20 seconds, and then Harry's just lifeless corpses there, and you're wondering, well, why is he a robot? And then it's never answered. The episode just ends, and it never really felt like it had a climax. It never really felt like we were getting anywhere, and it didn't even feel like a proper ending. I don't know, I guess maybe that's what they were going for, and I shouldn't shit on it for that, but it was just not enjoyable, at least to me. I didn't find it to be that entertaining, to say the least. So yeah, 4 out of 10, this is probably the one that I dislike the most so far. Now heading over to the random category with a 5.8 on IMDb, we have Party Slog. Oh boy, one all about our little guy Slog, the snot rocket fella. And so this episode begins with them at a doo-doo trash party, as Festo would describe it. It just sucks. And Slog, he releases a character named Party Slog, which is just like another version of himself where it's too crazy and he ruins a lot of parties, and he just freaks out and all of his hair falls off. And they decide to banish him, and they find out that he's got the most sexy fucking abs on the planet. Just look at these fucking cum gutters, as Rick and Morty would describe it. God, I haven't thought about that in so long. That's all that's all that could come to mind for describing abs. But yeah, he has abs, and he immediately pulls baddies. And by baddies, I mean just look at this woman that he pulls. I'll put her on screen. Like, just look at her. You're telling me that you're not just losing every fiber of will that you have to not just start salivating and being like, oh my god, she's so unbelievably attractive. Oh!
Can we come too?
Ew! No way! You guys are disgustoids!
Yeah, he pulls all the baddies, as you could clearly see. Bucktoothy and melting away lady. Yep. Very, very good. And so they take them away to this awesome party. They start partying and they see his abs, and the guy's just like and just realizes how cool his abs are. He starts freaking out.
These abs! So beautiful!
So he posts them all over the internet, and everybody comes to this party to see his abs, but Slog isn't allowed to be Party Slog because he'll ruin the party. And so he leaves, deals with his ab struggle, deals with it everywhere, and eventually this like party universe guy shows up, wants to give him the key to partying forever, but Slog is like, oh, but I can't be myself, and so everybody else realizes their senses and helps Slog to release Party Slog, and he starts partying it up. Yeah. And then everybody leaves, and that's the end of the episode. It was okay. The only parts of the episode that I really enjoyed were probably when he first has abs and the girls show up and they just look so horrid, like eldritch horrors, and they're like, you guys look gross, you should come with us hotties. That was pretty funny. It still didn't make me laugh, unfortunately. I miss sweet succulent laughter when I watch shows like this. But that was good. And then the guy's reaction to seeing his abs when he posted on the internet, that was also pretty good. Everything else was just okay, kind of boring. Like, I don't care about Slog's struggles to not keep in his inner party. I really didn't care, and all the scenes where they were trying to keep it in weren't even that funny in general. So if I was to rate this episode 1 out of 10, probably a solid, 4 out of 10. The only parts that I liked were when they initially would show his abs and people would react to it. After that, everything else was kind of just boring slop. The final episode that I'm going to be taking a look at for today with a 5.8 on IMDb is the episode Road Trippin'. And for an episode that is supposed to be all about road trips, it's really not. They road trip and they literally can move their entire mountain, so they're just driving their mountain and they end up at this town called Sweet Haven Pieopolis, a place where they just love to give pies. And I was really invested for a while. I mean, because there was this one farm character, whatever you want to call him, who is kind of evil. They keep doing close-ups where he's like, oh, I'm gonna cook you. Like, he doesn't actually say that, but he says things that make you think that he's going to kill them and cook them, and I liked it. I would have liked it a lot more if he was the villain and that was his intentions, but once you find out that that's not his intentions, it kind of sucks. Festo, he's eating all the pies, and he's wondering where all his friends went, and he just gets shocked because he's like, oh my god, they must be in the pies. Oh no! And so he goes to look for his friends, and he can't find any of them, and so he starts accusing the townspeople that, oh, you cooked my friends, and then his friends just show up, and they explain where they've been, and I'm not gonna lie, that took me so out of the episode where Slog is just like, so we were on the merry-go-round, and then we had to throw up, And then we had to use the bathroom. And then I genuinely felt like my brain was melting as each character was describing what they were doing during the episode. Well, Festo couldn't find them, man. Genuinely. They could have explained it all in 5 seconds, or better yet, you didn't even need to do a flashback for it. It just felt like a waste of time. It felt like, I don't know, my brain was getting fried, or like somebody put a bucket on my head and there was a rat slowly eating through my brain. That is genuinely what it felt like, to sit through all the characters talking about what they did. I did not care. It took me so out of the episode because I was so invested in this evil guy that is potentially cooking people, and then I have to listen to everybody tell the most boring slop average stories for 3 minutes before the townspeople are like, oh, why did you accuse us of such dastardly things? Oh, I'm so heartbroken. Oh. Like, dude, like you were crafting a decent episode there. Just lean into the villainy of it. Make them an evil town that turns people into pies and you have to fight your way out. It's Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, not Secret Mountain let's describe everything we were just doing in boring detail for 2 minutes. Sorry, I just don't care. I thought that was awful. I thought that was really bad. If I was to rate this episode 1 out of 10, I would probably give this one a solid 3. Like, there's just you need progression in your shows, unless you're just doing pure nonsensical comedy and you actually know what you're doing. But when you're making a show like this and you have no intention of telling actual jokes and you lean heavily into the fact that, oh, there's this villain and he makes pies and he's being all sinister, and you keep doing these close-up sinister faces, he does an evil laugh, he's just freaking out, he's tweaking the entire episode, and then instead of leaning into that, you decide to just have the characters do the most boring plotline ever with the most boring resolution. It takes me out of it. The progression of the episode just sucks because you spend 6 minutes thinking something heinous is going on just to find out it was nothing, which would have been fine if you were making it interesting still. I don't know, it was really boring. 3 out of 10. There's a lot of things I didn't like about this episode, which is unfortunate. This one had so much potential to be something better. So is Secret Mountain Fort Awesome actually awful? I'm gonna say yeah, mainly because of the characters. I really don't enjoy them. They're all hard to look at, and even when they're carrying an episode, I just can't connect with them in any way. Usually with a lot of these shows, you could pinpoint at least one character that you can enjoy, that you could like. I didn't really like any of the characters in this show. They just weren't... Something was so off about them. Their writing was always weird. It felt like it was hard to tell who you were supposed to like because they were either being over the top or really disgusting, and I just wasn't about it. So that's a major fault of the show. I just can't get behind the characters. But I will say that the show is definitely overhated. There are some episodes that I could tell have a little bit of passion to them, a little bit of drive, and are actually decent plots. Does that make me ever want to watch the show again? No. I don't want to watch the show again, because you can tell good stories when you're referencing The Labyrinth and using David Bowie to tell a decent story. I enjoyed that. But when it's just an episode with just those characters doing random shenanigans, I don't like them. They're not enough to carry an episode. This is one of those shows that I feel like would have benefited a lot from being on Adult Swim, having different writers to where they could actually use different kinds of comedy throughout the episode. I don't know. I just feel like for a show that looks the way it does with a literal walking ass man, you would think they would be leaning more into the comedy of it, but they don't really do anything for physical comedy necessarily, and they don't really tell any jokes. It's just going through the motions the entire time, and I'm not saying that it has to be funny, it's just genuinely devoid of that. There's none of it. There's none of it in a show that feels like it's trying so hard. I don't know. I just really didn't like this one very much, so I wouldn't recommend it, but I definitely do think it's overhated. I like going into these shows with an open mind. So yeah, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I am unfortunately falling ill. I'm getting a little bit sick, but I'm hoping to keep pushing and giving you guys daily content. Don't want to lose that. This one was a tough one, man. I try to do impressions because I think they're funny, specifically Arnold. At least, like, I know some people get sick of them, but when I'm rewatching my videos, anytime I do an impression, it can always make me laugh. I don't know. I like impressions. So I try to do that, but it's getting harder, so we'll see. Hope I feel better soon, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.